Dan Labbe with Mary Kay Cabot and Ashley Bastock. We are at the Browns' annual charity golf outing here at Westwood Country Club in Rocky River. Mary Kay, of course, the topic today was DeAndre Hopkins. This is the first time we've had a chance to talk to anyone since DeAndre was released by the Cardinals, and we heard from Kevin Stefanski, we heard from Deshaun Watson. It felt to me like Deshaun Watson was kind of lobbying for DeAndre Hopkins without actually coming out and lobbying for DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, I thought he was lobbying for DeAndre Hopkins. I thought he came right out and lobbied for DeAndre Hopkins. In fact, I just posted a story with the headline, "Of course we'd love to have him." So I think he tossed his hat firmly into the ring for them to try to go out and sign his good buddy, who he spent 3 years with the Texans. D-Hop made 3 straight Pro Bowls when he played with Deshaun Watson. So I think he'd love to have him. And furthermore, he thinks Deshaun Watson would love to play. DeAndre Hopkins would love to play here.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Kay, you asked him, doesn't this place check a lot of boxes that DeAndre's looking for? I guess I misread that a little bit, Ashley.
Yeah, I think so. I thought what Mary Kay said, I felt like after we left that interview that he was firmly lobbying for him. And, he mentioned they still talk all the time. Like, that question came up if he had made his pitch to DeAndre, and he said, well, like, we talk regularly. So, and we basically always have, even after he left Houston, it sounded like. So I think it's just understandable that chemistry there is so good. And he talked about what worked so well with them is that DeAndre Hopkins has one of the best catch radiuses in the NFL. And considering what kind of quarterback Deshaun Watson is, it's understandable why he would play so well with a guy like that. So Mary Kay, the question becomes, is this realistic? I don't know how long this process takes, but could a week from now, 2 weeks from now, could we be talking about DeAndre Hopkins as a Cleveland Brown?
When I started exploring this after he got released, it was unlikely at that time. There are other teams that have kind of been clamoring for him. The Bills, the Chiefs, and the Browns are pretty well set at wide receiver. Not only that, they've spent a bunch of money, including recently another $11.75 million on Zadarius Smith. So they don't have a lot of extra money laying around for something like this. But if Deshaun Watson really wants it, that's the whole key. If Deshaun wants it, of course they will explore it. This whole season is about making sure Deshaun Watson feels comfortable, that he has what he wants. What a better way to do it than to bring along one of his best friends and favorite targets.
Now, I did think it was interesting. Deshaun said, when he was going through those checking those boxes, Ashley, that they still need to go out on the field and actually prove it. I just thought that was an interesting line. It's kind of, we've been talking about it on the podcast and all of that. Everything looks good on paper, but they still need to go out and prove that it can work in practice.
Yeah, and it feels like that's been the story of this team for, the past 2 seasons, definitely, where certain things look good on paper, and then the results just aren't there. And, I think a big part of this is, even though he's getting out there with these receivers for the first time, like on the field, still so much of it is just going against air, where they're not, there's not full contact. These guys aren't in pads. Like, I think he's very realistic about the fact that they still have a long way to go. But they've done a lot so far to build as much chemistry as they can, including taking that trip to Puerto Rico that they did a couple weeks ago as an offense.
Yeah, and Mary Kay, just staying in that receiver room, of course, if you brought in DeAndre Hopkins, that would be sort of a shock to the system, right? He's going to come in, he's going to be the number, I guess, the 1A to Amari Cooper's 1B or vice versa, something like that. It kind of pushes Donovan Peoples-Jones down the depth chart a little bit. It pushes Elijah Moore into maybe a different role than they expected. It really puts a guy like David Bell, some of these other players, on the hot seat as far as their roster status. So the Browns also have to navigate that a little bit. But, man, it just feels like DeAndre Hopkins is worth that kind of hassle.
Yeah, you know what? People often ask in these settings, would they have too many receivers? When you have a chance to add a 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, you don't ask yourself, oh, geez, that gives us one too many guys in the room. I mean, they lost Isaiah Weston the other day. They've got room in the room.
Right.
But, when you have an opportunity to add a guy like that, who Deshaun Watson already has incredible chemistry with, he brings something to the table that nobody else does in that room right now, and that is experience with Deshaun Watson. It makes total sense to me to pursue it. I don't know if I can honestly say that it's likely to happen or that it's realistic that it will happen, because I think it will be a little bit of a bidding war with some teams, but they should certainly be pursuing it.
And Ashley, how many times last year were there certain positions where you felt like, oh, this team's in good shape, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, they still need another edge rusher, or they still need more defensive tackle help. You just never know how things are going to play out, so you can never have too many guys.
Yeah, and actually receiver was one of those
Right.
positions last year during training camp. There was a string of injuries early on, and all of a sudden it quickly became like, oh geez, that room was maybe a little crowded at the bottom of the depth chart, but now it seems like you can't get enough help. I really do think receiver and like your DBs are two positions where you just can never have enough bodies to throw at that and see what's going to work, and also to kind of like as an insurance policy if injuries pop up.
All right, Browns out here golfing today. They've got a full week of OTAs ahead, so just check out cleveland.com/Browns. You get full coverage of everything that was said today, and also practice tomorrow. We will be out in Berea. So again, check that out at cleveland.com/Browns.